All right, so here we are with our girl Mia, and she's just finishing up her program today. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what we've been able to develop and kind of break down, again, our goals, what our expectations are, and how to tap into what she knows, her foundation, her understanding, right? So first things first is just, again, always just following around here, loose leash walking, okay? So obviously we know she came in on her harness, pulling a lot, jumping a lot, darting out of control, right? She's a extremely happy-go-lucky young dog, but good girl, mama. Just lacked that understanding of what was expected of her, right? So perfect here. We've conditioned her to our left side, so she's gonna go ahead and stay on our left side, okay? And here I'm just, again, walking around. Very basic, but very, very important, all right? If we can't even just walk around like this on a loose leash, on a loose leash and have her just following us, you know, we really don't wanna be advancing or asking her to do anything else, okay? So like this is already big right here that she can stay by my side and continue to follow. So we have taught her leash pressure also, which is really something that we're kind of already falling on right now, because if she's either dropping back or maybe going a little to the left or in front of me, I can simply just apply a little bit of pressure on the leash and she catches up to me. So we want to make sure that we are managing our leash correctly, okay? So I'm gonna come to a stop right here. I'm gonna come to a stop, I'm gonna shorten up my leash, sit, I'm gonna tell her to sit, good girl. Okay, so how you're gonna hold your leash, you're gonna put the loop through your right thumb, okay? We're gonna then fold some of the slack over and hold that in this hand. With your left hand, you're gonna be, good, you're gonna have it kind of slid down here closer to the buckle, right? So she's gonna be on a fairly short leash. Okay, come on. She's gonna be on a fairly short leash, but you're gonna keep your hands by your side here. Okay, you're gonna have your shoulders up, your head up, right? You're gonna be in a proud, confident posture. Okay, it's gonna be very important. Again, our dogs are reading our body language. So if we're not in a proud, confident, leading posture, your dog is gonna know, okay? They're gonna know. So, okay, we're upright. Hands are by my side right here, and she's following right by my side, okay? So, again, she's already not pulling, okay? Yes, this is a controlled environment, right? Okay, but we've been practicing, obviously, in many other environments, but first things first is we wanna practice in your controlled environment, okay? So, we're gonna go ahead and just start walking around, okay? We can pick our pace up if we want, and we're gonna go ahead and use our leash to remind her to catch up. We can also talk to her. Come on, good girl, good girl. Good, so if she is doing what we want her to do, which is follow, good girl. She's paying attention, good girl. We can go ahead and give her some good verbal feedback. Good girl, good. All right, so let's go ahead and start advancing here. So I'm gonna come to a stop here. I'm gonna shorten my leash up. So when I come to a stop, I'm gonna shorten my leash. Good girl. Look, she just automatically sat there because we've been conditioning her to sit every time we stop. Okay, so if she doesn't sit when you stop, that's not a bad thing. Okay, we're just gonna tell her to sit and then get her into that position, right? Okay, come on. So let's see one more time how that looks. So obviously you saw right there, whenever I take off, I tell her, okay, come on. I'm letting her know we're gonna go. So we're gonna shorten up right here, sit, good girl, good girl, good girl. Okay, so foundation for everything here, okay? Foundation for everything. She's gonna be by my side right here, okay? We're gonna have two treats. You're gonna throw one and you're gonna keep one. And we're expecting her not to dart out and pull towards that food. We wanna keep her in the seated position with our leash. So if she does go out, you're gonna put her back into the seated position, okay? And then you're gonna release the leash. So here, we're working on her impulsivity, good girl. Her impulsivity, her patience, her self-control, and her understanding limitations. Okay, I'm on a leash and I can't pull out, all right? So this is teaching her how to also stay by our side until we give her permission, all right? So again, the foundation for everything is really teaching our dog how to not dart out on a leash, how to control themselves, how to make better decisions. That's a good girl. So I'm looking for her to completely leave those ones on the ground and give me her focus. When she gives me her focus, I can go ahead and reward her. Okay, that's a good girl. So this is one thing that we're always going to be upholding, okay? Because once we start moving and actually walking with her, this is all we're upholding is, I've taught you not to pull out and dart towards things on the ground. Okay, so when we're moving, I'm going to expect that also. Okay, so whether we take these treats and throw them out, okay, I'm expecting her not to pull out towards them also. So this is something that we're going to need to be practicing. Okay, just always teaching her, hey, things are on the grounds are off limits, right? Food on the ground is off limits. Okay, so very, very important there. So let me then come right here. I'm going to show you her leash pressure. So right here, I'm going to pull up and she's going to sit. I'm going to pull and guide her down and she lays down. Okay, so okay, again, she understands her leash pressure, even here in her directional pressure where we can guide her around. Okay, we want our dogs to be steerable so that we can navigate with them. Okay, oh yeah, we got to go through this crowd of people, or there's a barking dog at this house, I need you in close so we can pass, or we're going across the street and I need you in close, I need to steer you. Okay, so she does understand her leash pressure. Okay, so here it is again, we pull up, that's a good girl. That's a good girl, good. Okay, come on. All right, so there's our leash pressure and there's some of her patience and self-control with the food on the ground, right? So our next part, sit, good girl. Our next part is just gonna be not taking food from the hand, okay? So I'm gonna put my hand out like this, keeping it with me still, so we're being fair here, okay? And as long as she decides not to try to take that food from my hand, I can give it to her. If she does try, I'm gonna use my leash to let her know not to, okay? So if I have to, there's gonna be a quick jab on the leash, quick pop on the leash to let her know not to, and you're gonna keep doing that until she respects your hand and the food and doesn't try to get it, okay? Yes, good girl. So the whole point is, don't take food from me, we will give it to you, all right? So asking for some respect there, asking for some space, demanding it if we need to. These concepts right here are very, very important in developing overall respect, okay? So one other thing here, especially since we had that nick on her neck there, completely healed up, looks fantastic, but one thing we want to make sure with her collar is that it's staying up high. And that would be with any collar, not just this collar here, her star mark. Any collar that we're going to put on our dog, we want to make sure that it's up high, so we will avoid the throat and the trachea that's at the bottom, okay? So less pressure on her and more control for you. So she's kind of in an in-between size, so where the collar is fitted right now is like a little big, but if we take one out, it's like, it's really a nice fit, it's a little snug, but so she's kind of in between, okay? So just make sure that we are pulling that collar up when we need to. That's a habit that every owner needs to start developing, is just checking their collar, okay? Good girl, mama, good girl. Okay, so she's in her seated position. From here, let's go ahead and move on to the next command, which is gonna be to stay. So we're gonna tell her to sit and stay, right? So she's already seated, Mia. So we're gonna go ahead and call her name, Mia. Stay. I wanted her to engage with me, okay? I'm gonna tell her to stay, I'm gonna show her my palm, and I'm gonna go around her. Good girl. So our first part is your sit, stay 360. Can we even go around them and have them stay there? Okay, so I'll come back to her side, I'll manage my leash, and I'll reward and pet her for that. Good girl, good girl, good girl. To release her, I'm gonna go ahead and say, okay. I'm gonna clap my hands and I'm going to move, all right? So, clap hands and move, good girl. So when we have her on a stay, we want her to understand that she needs to stay there until we release her. So let's see one more time what that looks like. We'll come to a stop. Mia, sit. Hand signal for sit is up, okay? So hand signal for sit is up. The leash reminder for sit is pulling up also, right? So we'll tell her to stay. Hand signal for stay is showing the palm. Stay. You're gonna step off, you're gonna go around her. This time, stay. I'm gonna go ahead and walk all the way out on the leash here. You maneuvered the leash around her like that. Good girl. You come back in, manage your leash, praise her. Good girl. She should still stay right now because we haven't released her. we'll do it like this. Okay, good girl. Good girl, real good. Okay, so let's try one more time right here. Sit, good, stay. She's on her stay, and now stay. We're gonna add in squeaky ball. Good girl, good girl. So she needs to stay there while we've got the ball. Okay, so if she passes that test, we can go ahead and reward her. That's a good girl. So next step is sit, stay with distraction, right? So you're gonna add in different types of distractions, okay? So here we go. Okay, clap our hands, release her, good girl. All right, so let's move on here to her cot. Let's tell her, go to bed. We'll tell her to go to bed, we'll point, we'll have her sit, and we'll have her lay down, all right? So our hand signal is pointing down for down, okay? So once she's there, we'll go ahead and tell her to stay, and we can repeat the process here of going around her first. So maybe first part is stay, just hold the leash just like you were for your sit stay, go around her. Good girl. If she passes that test, we can go ahead and advance to stay, distractions. So we'll do the same thing here. Squeak, 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 squeak. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Good, and then we can reward her there for that. That's a good girl. Good girl. Stay. All right, so before, again, we drop the leash, we wanna make sure that we can go around her holding the leash first. So from there, let's go ahead and advance. Stay, we'll tell her to stay, and we'll bring in some greater distractions. So we got the basketball here, good girl. Good girl, which we had to build her confidence with. Good girl, stay. Good. So again, essentially, when we teach our down stay, we want to teach our dogs how to deal with what's going on around them, right? Stay. So keep their mind relaxed and on task and focused, stay, while distractions and things are going on. So again, we're prepping her to be able to stay, take direction, and go through life, right? When things are happening in life, we need our dog to be able to listen to us and be patient and self-control and not be so reactive. Good girl, right? Not be so reactive. So we want to practice. So down stay with distractions. Good girl. So I can come in here. Good girl. I can reward her. Good. Stay. I will remind her to stay as I walk away. Okay? Good girl. Stay. Get a little skateboard in. Stay. Good girl. Good girl. Stay. Good. Good. Good girl. Stay. Good. All right, so here's some distraction, right? And then obviously some time, right? We started stacking this, so she's been here for a longer and longer and longer. So our overall goal is a minimum of 1 hour, right? We want to be able to tell our dog to lay down and stay, good girl, for 1 hour. So again, when you guys are cooking and you're eating and you're cleaning up, she should be on her bed, working her down stay on command. Okay, so, and then again, other times when you're working, you're doing things around the house, this should be a place where we can park her. We want to generalize her going to her bed and laying down and staying and relaxing on command. We want to generalize that, so it needs to be done often. Okay, so that way, when we really need her to listen, people are coming over, someone's at the door, whatever it might be, she understands what you want from her, and because she knows she needs to listen to you, that's what we're working on. She has her commands, she has her understanding, but what we need to teach her to do is how to listen to you, okay? So when she understands how to listen to you, well then now you'll be able to guide her easily through those times where you're fighting with distractions, and she gets distracted very easily, so we need to make it very, very clear when we want her to be on task, right? Good girl. So we want to build this up for you to at least be able to have her there for 1 hour. Okay? And ultimately, our goal is for her to fall asleep in command. So if you're working, you're doing on something, again, she would be laying down anyways on her bed. Here, she's just going to be on command doing it. Okay? So Again, what we want to do here is she's still on her stay. We want to be able to come and pick the leash up. Often what happens is when your dog is on a stay, you pick the leash up and they break it because they think, oh great, we picked the leash up, I'm done. So you want to just make sure, good girl, that just because you're picking the leash up doesn't mean that she thinks she's done. Okay, so really the only way that she can be released is with her release command, or if we were to ask her to come or to heel, recall. All right, so simply we're just gonna do this. Mia, okay. We're gonna clap our hands. I'm gonna tell her okay, and you can hear the way I say okay, right? It's very upbeat, okay. All right, so my tone changes and I add in that clap, right? So let's see what this looks like here. Mia, go to bed. Mia, go to bed. Okay, so right here, when she starts smelling around, okay, and doesn't complete going to bed right away, jump in with your leash and direct her, okay? We do not want our dogs, when we say go to bed, they start smelling the bed for 30 seconds before they get on. Hold on, mom, I'm smelling it before I get on. No, we need the task to be completed quickly, all right? Okay, good girl, come on. All right, Mia, go to bed. Good girl, just like that, down. Good girl, stay. So again, if she doesn't sit or she doesn't lay down, you're gonna use the leash to guide her, okay? So don't have a back and forth. Don't repeat your commands too many times. You're gonna give her an opportunity twice, 2 opportunities to listen to you. If she doesn't listen to you, you use the leash to follow through. That's the most important part of all of this, and that's why we develop our leash language so that we can actually follow through when the dog decides to say, I don't really want to listen right now, mom, or what happens if I don't listen? Are you gonna do anything about it, right? That they're always evaluating. So we need to be able to actually do something about it. So we actually teach what the leash means so we can apply it, all right? So from here, let's go ahead and ask her to come to us. So I am gonna go ahead and have my treat ready for this one because we're just continuously solidifying and trying to condition and really drive in our come command, right? It's a very, very important command. And so I want to, okay, Mia, come. Good girl. I want to make sure that I'm rewarding her every single time. So I want her to come to me and sit. I can go ahead and give her this. I want her to remain here. Okay, okay, until I okay her, right? So I don't want my dog to just come to me when I call them and then check in with me really quickly or grab the treat and then run away. All right, if we're trying to put their collar on or whatever it might be, get them, we need them to actually come to us and to stay there, right? So let's see one more time. Mia, go to bed. Good, down. Good girl, stay. I also like to drop the leash out in the direction that I'm going to be walking in. So here I'm walking this backwards this way. The leash is out here just in case I need to guide her to me. And that'll be something that we're gonna have to work on if she doesn't come to you. So if she doesn't come, you're gonna have to grab the leash and guide her to you to complete the come. All right, so listen to my tone here. Okay, Mia, come. Sit. Yes, good. I'm gonna remain engaged with her here. Up. Okay, good girl. So she's gonna stay there because I'm remaining engaged with her, okay? So you heard, all right, so you see how she ended up just kind of going back on her own there? Fine, okay? But, you know, eventually they start picking up the pattern. Oh, you asked me to go to bed and then you asked me to come. You asked me to go to bed and you asked me to come. So they kind of start offering it. So just make sure that she's not cycling and jumping ahead and trying to beat you. Okay, so if we didn't ask her to go to bed and she goes to bed, don't be accepting that. Okay, we want to only be accepting what the dog, that are based off of the dog listening to what you're actually telling them to do, okay? So often we'll get into a trap where maybe she beats you, maybe you didn't ask her to do something and she anticipates and then she does it and then we allow it and we're like, wow, look how smart she is. She knew what I was gonna ask her to do. But in reality, she's just not paying attention, okay? So we don't want to reward anticipation, right? Okay, Mia, come. Mia, okay, come. Good girl. Sit. Good. Good. So one other thing we can do here is go ahead and grab her collar first and then reward her. Okay, so she gets used to you reaching and grabbing for her. Okay. And then releasing her after that. All right. So One of the other parts is she jumps a lot, right? So again, this is just part of our manners, all right? It has nothing to do with obedience. So one of the things for the jumping, you're gonna go ahead and hold your leash fairly short here. We're gonna get excited, we're gonna engage with her, we're gonna pet her. Good girl. Whoa, good girl, Mia, good girl. If she jumps, you're gonna go ahead and stop engaging. You're gonna use your leash, give a quick leash pop, and then go back to engaging and see if she jumps again, okay? So you actually have to teach her not to jump on you, but not through disengaging. We wanna actually do that through your leash and your correction there, but then go back to engaging with her. Okay, so we wanna teach her actually how to do it, not to just avoid engaging with us because, oh, jumping gets them to ignore me. Jumping gets them to ignore me. No, jumping gets corrected, and when I don't jump, I get engaged with, which is what she's wanting, which is what we're wanting. We want to engage with our dog, right? So we just need to teach him how to engage. So any mouthing, any jumping, any pushiness that's happening, you're gonna go ahead and just use your leash, pinpoint, not that, and then go back to doing it again in terms of engaging with her, petting her, okay? So all we're just saying is, everything is good, everything is good, everything is good. Oh, not that, don't like when you jump. And then go back to doing it and see if she repeats the behavior, okay? So, Mia, heel, heel. Okay, so I can put her into her last part there, which is asking her to heel, which is part of her recall. Okay, so coming to us is coming front and center, where asking her to heel like that is to come back to my side. Okay, so sit, heel. So if I were to allow her to be smelling in the grass right now, and then here comes, let's say, a dog coming down the sidewalk or something's happening, and I need to call her back to my side, I'm gonna tell her to heel. I'm gonna pat my left thigh, and I'm gonna reel her in with the leash and take off. Okay, so that one will work on a little bit more, okay, but that is part of our recall, which is calling our dog back to our side. Good, sit. So our main focus with her right now in the beginning is her making sure that her commands, her basic commands are solid. Okay, this is our foundation. If the foundation is not solid, everything else is gonna be very, very difficult. So making sure her foundation is solid, making sure she listens to you, making sure we know how to communicate correctly, working on her patience and self-control, okay? And working on her when you do have her on a command to give in to the command, okay? She's gonna test you, she's gonna try you, she's gonna say, but are you paying attention? Oh, you turned your back, do I need to stay? Okay, so we're gonna be working on some convincing here that she needs to listen to you. So remember, she's been taught the skills, now she just needs to learn how to listen to you, right? Good girl, good girl. And then obviously, look, this has been applied in all different types of environments out in the real world, school in the morning, seeing dogs in the neighborhood, talking to neighbors and people, obviously all of the dogs that we've had her with. So this is just a demonstration here on her obedience portion, okay? And then again, making sure that we get this down, okay? Not pulling out, working on her leash manners, learning to stay by your side, working on her sit stay, her down stay, coming to you, right? Again, these are all part of teaching our dog how to listen to us, okay? And the better our dogs listen to us, the better things are gonna be, right? So that's a really good girl. That's a really good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Very happy with her progress. Smart girl. Can go both ways, right? It's either smarts can go with us or against us. Good girl. So want to harness that, and we'll be on our way to raising a great companion. Good girl, mama.